Alright, so before I begin production of my next video, I just wanted to address this of what's going on with this whole thing that I've kind of been secretly analyzing. Now, I've recently discovered Wave's video that he made about a week ago addressing this matter, so why did I wait for this? Well, I encountered this problem recently, and it doesn't mean I can't respond to it. It's only a week old, right? So, if you guys want the short, Animal Guy is basically making a video of his greatest moments and his biggest screw-ups. A group of people were voting on the top 10 worst Unova Pokemon to be the biggest screw-up, and Wave did kind of have to start a little arguing that it wasn't. Now, I have my own reasons for not liking that list, but browsing through the comments, I have to say, it's getting kind of ridiculous, and I want to see if I can bash this into people's skulls here. Now first, I just kind of want to say my personal preferences to this whole thing and why I really don't like the list. It's nothing against Animal Guy or Inchin Bull II, or however you pronounce their name. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. I do enjoy both their videos, and this is not to bash on any of these users. Though I do have to say it was a lot more organized than a lot of other top worst Pokemon lists I've saw, but it does have flaws, at least in my perspective. First, I have to say most of the jokes kind of felt overacted and childish, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks that. These lists always do feel a tad bit too predictable, which I always don't really like, and the constant comparisons between other generation Pokemon just kind of annoys me. Because it's not like we can have two different cats in the same franchise. I mean, a tabby is quite obviously a ripoff of the Siamese cat, right? And I should note that comparing other Pokemon to call them unoriginal is in a sense being a Gen 1er, which we never do like in the Pokemon community, even if it's unintentional. Another gripe I have against it, and this goes for any quote-unquote worst Pokemon list, and everyone listen up here because this is important. I know it's just a title, but placing that in, it makes it feel like that you are intentionally making a tier list as if, oh, we measured the statistics, these are completely factual, there is no arguing, this is the truth, which you have to see that this will most likely spur argument, and pointless flame, which nobody likes. It also kind of drives the Pokemon community down because it's actually kind of hard to have a legit conversation about these Pokemon without people bringing up how much they suck and how unusable they are. I for one do believe that any Pokemon can have its use in some way, and I know I'm going to get disagreement for that statement, but people who take this shit too seriously will insist that these Pokemon are completely worthless and should be hated, which stops you from playing and discussing Pokemon in a very casual manner. Now, that's not the list maker's fault, that's more of the community, and I can't stop people from making these lists, but I am explaining the backlash that these things cause. I just personally think a least favorite Pokemon list would actually be a lot more called for and a lot more unique. But that is just me. And the final problem I do have with this particular list is that you are kind of underestimating speedy Pokemon. See, Pokemon like Emoga and Swoobat, though I can agree have a spot on this list, just further from number 1 though. Pokemon like that are meant for supporting, setting things up like light screens, encores, taunts, all that good stuff. At least gives them some use, even if they can't do their jobs particularly as well as other Pokemon. But I just call them scouting Pokemon, and they can be good in a team if you have bulky Pokemon like Emboar, or Pokemon that require setups of their stats for sweeps like Superior, which is also a reason of how Emoga learns Volt Switch in order to inflict damage as it sets up for these types of Pokemon. Now, I'm not saying these Pokemon should be ducked from the list altogether, but I am, on the other hand, saying that they are more helpful than you think, due to how you can utilize that speed towards their advantages. Now for the part I think you two will thank me for, since I've been kind of bashing on the list this whole time. I want to see if I can get this logic through a couple people's heads. Now there is one reason this video is up, and it goes for pretty much any other video on YouTube. It's to quite simply entertain you guys. But some of you just insist of defending your favorite masturbation icons so much, and it just gets really unbelievable. Not everyone gives irrational reasons to hate on this list, but I am saying there are people out there taking this way too much into heart. Guys, it's satirical. They are joking around and exaggerating how they feel about these Pokemon in order to make entertainment. It's nothing more. They're not trying to say, don't get these Pokemon. They're not trying to say, stop liking them. And you guys need to understand that. Recently, I've been browsing through all the Unova Pokemon, trying to take everything into consideration. The stats, moves, abilities, just everything. I have to say, for the most part, the Pokemon that were on the list can easily be said to be the worst Unova Pokemon. But the thing is that it's not really saying much, because Unova placed so much balance this time into making most of the Pokemon useful in some way or another, as long as you're being creative with it. To kind of end this underwhelming part of my response, I'm just gonna say it was supposed to be funny, though I didn't really find it entertaining. Just because your favorite ended up on the list doesn't make too much of a difference at the end of the day. So it's not really a legit reason to complain on the list, nor is it a reason to make such a big deal out of it. So I hope this cleared up my viewpoint of this whole situation that's been going on with this particular list. And I hope that people are a bit more friendly now and will stop wasting their breath and learn not to take these jokes way too seriously. I am looking forward to the next video from both of you, and I hope I accomplished something here today. Whether you two learned something about my perspective, or I made the Pokemon community at least a little bit more friendly in some way. What am I going to do next? Well, I think I might leave that at a bit of a surprise. But for now, I'm signing off.